Welcome back. It is Saturday, December 21st in the NBA. My three best bets are on the way. If you are new, my name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. Today, we're going to dive into a recap of how we did yesterday, and you can bring out those brooms. It was a clean sweep. 1-0. Hey, we'll take going 1-0 every single day of the week. Joel Embiid's over in points plus assists. Pretty sweat-free. Hit that over and just points alone. That's our sixth straight winning NBA day. As I've said before, we're not normally sweeping the board. Technically, we did yesterday, a 1-0 day. But hey, if we can keep making you guys some money, that's what it's all about. Today, we go for the illustrious 1 week of winning money in the NBA. We got 3 picks in this video. I'll dive into them in just one moment. 2 props, 1 spread pick. At the end of the video, I will talk about some of the other games I looked at, some other props that I considered, just some things I'm not having 100% confidence in. And if I don't have 100% confidence, let's just not play it. So we'll dive into at the end of the video, a bunch of other games if you want to stick around for that. But either way, let's dive into the picks. I do want to note 2 things. 1, we posted an NFL video yesterday with my best bets for Saturday. Go check that out. And 2, Saturday, college football playoff. More picks are in that video. It was posted yesterday as well. I'm on a 33-9 run in college football. Now, it was 32-9 yesterday, but I cashed my pick in the Notre Dame Indiana game. So, hey, check those videos out. I encourage you. I've been dominating the college football recently. But either way, you guys give me for some NBA picks. We dive into the first 2, which are player props. The first one will begin with the guy on the thumbnail. Stephen Curry over 21.5 points, minus 120 on DraftKings. I'd play this for 1 unit up to 22.5. Personally, I think the line should be closer to 23.5, maybe even 24.5. Now, if you back Steph Curry in his last game, I don't know how to tell you this. You got cooked as he had 0 points. He was terrible. 0 for 7, I believe. The Warriors lost by 50. Yeah, we would know that because we had Draymond Green's over in PRAs, and he also put up a bagel. Goose eggs across the board. But obviously, I like to back a guy like Steph in a bounce-back spot. Also, I really like the matchup for him against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Steph so far this season has obviously kind of been a down one. The Warriors are a very weird team. He's averaging 22 a game over this line and 57%, and that includes 23 and 30 versus Minnesota Timberwolves this year on 17 and 18 field goal attempts. So, obviously, a good track record so far this season against Minnesota, and the field goal attempts are there. If you tell me Steph shoots 17, 18 times tonight, feel pretty good about getting a line around 21.5, given a lot of those shots are going to be 3-pointers. More importantly, we look at the volume and his history dating back even further versus Minnesota. If you look at his last 23 regular season games versus the Timberwolves, averaging nearly 29 points per game over this line in 20 of 23. And his last 6, all since 2023, is at 29, 20, 38, 31, 23, and 30 points, going over in 5 of 6. So 20 points in all 6. Now, obviously, if I'm pulling up stats from 23 matchups ago, we're talking, back into like 2018. I mean, sure, you can't really take those numbers with a grain of salt because we're not going to be like, oh, Steph's the same player as he was 7 years ago. But again, this has been a good spot for him, especially recently, and even as recent as this season. And I really think this is a spot that he can dominate. And we think about how the Timberwolves play defense. They're typically pretty good on spot-up shooters, which obviously the Warriors have plenty of. And Steph Curry's mostly the guy they kind of run a bunch of screens for. And we think about, I don't even know, I think they probably go small if I were the Warriors here and make Rudy Gobert have to guard a guy like Draymond Green. He's probably not going to go extend to the 3-point line. And so you're going to see some dribble handoffs where Draymond can find Steph and Steph can get some open looks. So look, I think this is a great spot. We've actually seen the volume for Steph take a tick up. His 16 plus shots in 8 straight games prior to their last game where they lost by 50. I think this is a tight game between these two teams that just got smoked in their respective games. I really like the spot here for Steph to have to keep the Warriors in this one. I don't like betting Warriors props. I really hate the team, but at least prop betting wise, but I think this is a good Curry matchup. Give me his over 21.5 points, and it's not a good matchup for his teammates. Now we move to another player prop. My last one of the video, then we'll give it to Logan for his favorite spread pick. Look, I'll talk about a bunch of other props after this one, but I really like this one. I'd argue if I had to choose between Steph or this guy, this would probably be my more confident one, but I think both of them are winners. It's CJ McCollum over 19.5 points, minus 110 on FanDuel. Now, obviously, depending on what book you are, if the line goes up to 20.5, you should have the ability to take 20 plus points, which is the same thing as 19.5. I think CJ McCollum is going to dominate the Knicks today. Now, if you look at the last time these two teams faced, the Knicks won by 33 points. Today, you find the Knicks or the Pelicans, whatever, as 8.5-point underdogs, Knicks as 8.5-point favorites. Something about the NBA, when you become an 8.5-point favorite, it's cursed. What do I mean? Well, just look at some of the Logan's track record. He's bet on a bunch of 8.5-point favorites. they've lost outright. Just even recently, Nuggets, Blazers. The Nuggets, weren't they at home or they were on the road in that one? Lost outright there too. I just feel like the whole world is going to pile in on the Knicks. They're going to have Knicks money line, Knicks spread, Knicks alt spread, everything like that. I don't know. I'm not saying the Knicks lose this game outright. Heck, they could win by 10, 15 points. I don't care. But I just feel like this is a game the Pelicans keep close. If they're keeping it close, let's hope it's CJ McCollum. But even if they don't, CJ McCollum is averaging 20.9 points per game this season. He's over in 8 of 15 games, 53%. He is under, though, in 4 of his last 5. Now, 2 of the games he ended with 18 and 19 points. So does him scoring 18 or 19 get us anything today? Absolutely not. But it is good to see him at least getting close to the line, even in some bad shooting performances. Now, we also have to consider some of those matchups coming against the Thunder and the Rockets, 2 teams that we know are one of the best, if not the best, defenses in the NBA. Now, as I said, that first matchup against the Knicks, I believe on December 1st, CJ McCollum struggled. The whole team struggled. He scored 13 points on 6 of 16, played 25 minutes. He didn't play the final 16 minutes. As I said, they were down 33. They lost by 30 points. He's not going to play a lot if that's the case. But returning back home here, I think this is a good spot to back McCollum. In 5 home games, he's actually only played 5 home games this season compared to 10 on the road. But in those 5, he's averaged nearly 23 points per game. He has scored 23, 19, 25, 11, and 36 points. And the field goal attempts, look at them, 19, 20, 18, 19, and 24 field goal attempts. The Pelicans have been a mass unit this season, but with Ingram and Zion still out, they don't have a ton of scorers. They have obviously CJ McCollum. They have DeJounte Murray, who I swear can't make a shot, Herb Jones, and Trey Murphy. So we look at those guys. What are you getting from all these guys on a consistent basis? Hence why CJ gets a lot of volume. And we look at those home games. One of them was against the Thunder when he scored 11. So I'll cut him a break there. But you look at how he scores, 31% of his points via the pick and roll. The Knicks, 3rd worst defense there, 28th defensively. The Knicks, in contrast, are a top 10 defense for spot-up shooters. Now, CJ can become a spot-up shooter, but most of his points are coming off the dribble, and we see that maybe limits Herb Jones and Trey Murphy Jr. to score some points. And then furthermore, you just look at McCollum's whole body of work. He's averaged 20-plus points 10 straight seasons. He's scored 20-plus in 21 of his last 30 with 15 or more shots, and he scored 21-plus not 20 plus, 20 plus points and 75% of games last season when he shot 15 or more times. I just think this is CJ McCollum day. Call me crazy. I just think this is a good spot. I almost made him a 2-unit play. I'll stick to 1 unit because the Pelicans are a nasty, nasty squad. But man, I think that game's tight, and I think CJ McCollum's the reason that it's tight. So I think if you want to go for some ladder potential, maybe 25, 30 points there, I think he could realistically score 25 today. I don't know the odds on 25 points. If we were to look it up, I imagine normally 25 plus points for a guy to score 20 when his line's 20 aren't the best. If we're to look at it right now, before I throw it to Logan, it's going to be at, let's see, my guess is probably plus 225, something like that. CJ McCollum, 25 points, plus 240. So hey, if you want to go for a plus 240 winner, I think he could score 25 today. But those are my 2 favorite props. I'll talk about a bunch of other props in just one moment. But I'm throwing to Logan for his favorite spread pick of the day. He's been dialed in. I think he hit 5 of his last 6 of his last 7. Logan, the floor is yours.
Last time you saw me, I had the Jazz plus the points. You can keep the points. They won outright. I love picking underdogs that I think have a chance to win the game outright, and that's exactly what I have today with the Miami Heat plus 3.5, minus 115 odds on BetMGM. Currently your best value there. Now, again, it wouldn't shock me if they did win this game outright. The first game of the season, I will never forget this one. I'm like an elephant. The first game of the season, I backed the Heat in Orlando. They lost by 19. That one hurt. It made me just come out of the gates looking like I didn't know what I was talking about. The Heat in this game, and they're short underdogs, by the way, on 0 rest, so they do have the rest disadvantage. They're coming off a home loss to Oklahoma City where they shot 30% from 3 and lost that game by 7. Now, when you shoot 30% from 3, a lot of these games you are not going to win. So the fact that they didn't lose by double digits, to me, kind of just shows that they got some toughness with them. And also in that first matchup, though, against Orlando, big names in that one. Top 2 scorers for the Magic were Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. Neither of those guys will play tonight. So that definitely changes this matchup this time around, which is why I think the Heat get a little bit of in-state rival revenge, if you will. Potentially no Jimmy Butler for Miami tonight. Do I care? I mean, it would be helpful if he did play. But again, Jimmy Butler, I'm never knowing really what I'm getting from him night to night basis. Kind of like what I've seen from this Heat team. I mean, that's what it is. Some games they show up, some games they don't. I think this is a spot that they definitely show up and they play very hard. Orlando is just 24th in opponent three-point made percentage at home. Why do I bring that up? Because the Heat, and they shoot a lot of threes. Obviously, they're ninth in field goal attempts, ninth in field goal attempts, and seventh in percentage made. But last night they did not fall. Sometimes you live by the three, you die by the three. And last night the threes did not fall. I mentioned they just shot 30%. Again, what we know of NBA, it's a kind of law of averages sport. One night you're shooting 30%, maybe the next night you're shooting 40%. And that does make a huge difference in these games. I think the Heat will shoot a lot better tonight. If you look at Miami on the season long, last point, 2-2 against the spread on no rest. I think they improved that to 3-2 after tonight. I think they cover this game, and I would not be shocked at all if they do win outright. Love the Miami Heat today as my best bet. Austin, throwing it back to you, though.
Let's hope the Heat, a team that I hate backing, can come through today. I would like if Jimmy Butler was inactive. I believe Jimmy Butler is a little bit of overrated value on the Heat on the spread. I'm not saying he's bad, but I just feel like the Heat play better without him. I don't know, call me crazy. I just feel like when you get those second unit guys, you buy the bad news. The second unit guys normally give you a lot more effort than what you might get out of Jimmy on a back-to-back. You never can trust that man. But either way, let's dive into the other games and I'll get on out of here. Get out of your hair. We talked about some other games. Los Angeles and Sacramento is the first game of the day. I like the Kings on the spread there. Now, I don't do a lot of spread picks. I like the Kings on the spread. I looked at fading Anthony Davis. I just think this is a terrible spot for the Lakers. They obviously just beat Sacramento. Have beat them both times this season. But historically, Sacramento's kind of owned LA, at least the Sabonis versus AD matchup. I think the Kings play better here. Also, this is an early start at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I just have no faith in the Lakers getting ready to go. They just feel like a team that they might show up in the first half, but that second half comes and the legs are gone and they just don't care. So I would take the Kings there. Not a lot of props I love. I looked at Keegan Murray first quarter points. Miami, Orlando, Logan already touched on that. Memphis, Atlanta, I don't really want a lot of business in there. John Morant, unlikely to play. Kind of makes the Memphis side a wash for me. And Atlanta, I considered fading Trae Young, but I don't want to do that. He'll make his shots when I fade him. Utah, Brooklyn. I like Brooklyn on the spread. Utah, I have a feeling is Jordan Clarkson getting suspended for this game before the game. I feel like that's kind of what is baked into the Utah Jazz lines. I wanted to fade some Jazz guys today, but I wanted to wait till that Jordan Clarkson news came out. I'd imagine he's suspended, given he tried to squabble on up against Ron Holland. Brooklyn side, I don't really like any of that team. That team's disgusting. Philadelphia, Cleveland, another game I'm avoiding. Obviously, Joel Embiid is out here. 10.5 point spread. Maybe you could get there with Maxey, but you're banking on him getting elite volume and making some shots. I just don't have a lot of faith there. Boston and Chicago was also the site of an almost pick. I had about an 80% confidence on Jaylen Brown's over in points. If I was able to take first quarter or first half points lines and track them towards the record, I would put Jaylen Brown over 11.5 points as a pick. You can do that on PrizePicks if you want. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Chicago Bulls keeping this game competitive. They're 11.5 point dogs. Sure, they beat the Celtics just recently, but Chicago, they got lucky there. The Celtics shot below 30% from three. They go as the three-pointer goes, and Chicago plays no defense. So if Boston starts making some shots, that one could get ugly, which is why I like Jaylen Brown first half points more than his full game. I almost actually put him in a same-game parlay for like 15 points. I might even do a ladder today. I'm not sure, but I think he scores 15. Wizards, Milwaukee, ew, no, I'm out. Golden State, Minnesota, talked about that. New York, New Orleans, talked about that. Clippers, Dallas Mavericks. You got James Harden. His 3.5 threes line is way too juice for me, like minus 170 today. I considered fading Klay Thompson. The whole world is on PJ Washington's over and rebound, so that should be a good look. I don't know about that. And then, I don't like betting on those two teams. Then you get to Portland, San Antonio. I wanted to fade Victor Wembanyama again, but I can't sit back and watch Jeremy Grant hack him 800 times, but I don't mind fading Wemby. Looks like Devin Vassell finally returned to a full minutes last game, although he did see 38 minutes. Some of them were in overtime. Interesting. We'll see if he plays, how many minutes he plays today. They kind of inflated his lines, assuming he's back to full time. His line's like 18.5 points. As for Portland, I'd want to fade some of their guys. I hate Portland on the road. And then Detroit and Phoenix. If I were to run a ladder challenge, that might involve some picks in there. I really like Cade to score today, like 20 points. I think he gets that. 22.5 sometimes is sharp for him. Phoenix now down Devin Booker. So you should expect Durant to step up. His line's nearly 30 points. Bradley Beal, I can't trust that fraud. If Bradley Beal's a fraud, you could literally put him against a middle school team, and that man, I swear, can't score 12 points. So I refuse to back him. Tyus Jones, maybe a guy I'd look at, but I don't know. Mike Budenholzer, the Phoenix Suns head coach, feels like he wants to mess around with things, and I just don't like betting on the Suns a ton. But I don't mind Durant over. If I were to do a ladder, I'd consider probably putting Durant in there for like, I don't know if I love 29.5, but he's scoring at least 23, 24, 25. And then Cade, you normally can get it for 20. I think he at least scores like 18 points. So I don't know. We'll see if we run a ladder. I'm not sure. I'm about to be on the road heading to my in-laws' house and all this and this stuff. So the next few videos for the NBA, next probably 6 days, won't be as highly edited because I'll be on my laptop and that'll be a disaster. But I'll put a lot of work into the picks, make sure I give out some winners. Hopefully we have a 7th straight winning day today and we can move that into tomorrow. We have another short slate of action. So CJ McCollum and Steph Curry's over in points. Heat plus 3.5. And if I do run a ladder challenge, you'll see it later on today. If I don't, I don't. So we'll see. Either way, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me ramble about the other games. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.